then move the start record button. Let's try this one more time. We'll roll it back. Anyway, welcome to WP Plugins, A to Z.com. This is John Overall, and I am going to ramble on until someone decides to join me on screen. We'll get a few people in here, and sooner or later, a few people will arrive and have some fun. Thanks, Eileen. Appreciate all the props. So anyway, as I was talking before I was recording, last night I recorded my podcast with my co-host Marcus, and we were talking, he was talking to me about an exploit that he had discovered from YouTube. It seems the hackers are really good sometimes about creating YouTube videos and then uploading them to explain in exquisite detail how to hack a WordPress website. And this one's kind of a scary hack in that it's just so simple to use. Now, the nice thing about it is it won't affect everybody. It seems to be tied to specific themes. And what it does is it allows people to inject do a fake form call on a site, and it allows them to download the WP config file. And those of you that know WordPress or play with WordPress will know what the WP config file is. This is your keys to the kingdom file, as it's also known. It contains your database information, your database password, its username, its location, the salt, a couple of other little tweaks and pieces in there. But the biggest thing is the database information, because with that information, a hacker can then proceed to inject into your database their own administrative username on there. And once they manage to do that, you are basically owned by them, and it's a very deadly thing. Now, I'm not going to go in or give details on where to find this YouTube video. Fortunately, it seems to be relatively buried, and it's only been viewed half a dozen times. Maybe it'll disappear. I don't know. But the biggest thing here is that you just got to beware with your site and what's happening with it.
I'm looking at YouTube.
You're looking at YouTube. You can't be looking at. Sorry, I got a child here home sick. He may or may not appear on camera. Here, come over here, buddy. So that there you go. Look right over here. There you go. There we go. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Now go back and sit on the couch. That's okay. So this is what I was going to be talking about here. And just rambling off, if anyone happens to come in here in the next half an hour or so, then I will help with answering questions, solving problems, talking about WordPress plugins, because of course that is what we do on the WP Plugins A to Z show. We talk about plugins and what they can and cannot do for your site. I thought I also might ramble on a little bit about WordPress MU. This is something that keeps coming up more and more for me these days. I started building WordPress MU sites, probably about 9 months, 10 months ago. I had attempted to build them when I first started into WordPress back in the beginning. Probably, I guess it's been 5 or 6 years now, but WordPress MU was very unstable and very difficult to use at the time. And I ignored it, came back to it. I would come back to it from time to time because I could just see its potential. But about 9 months ago, I realized that MU had advanced to the point where it was very useful and very helpful. So WordPress MU, being the behemoth it is, has advanced to the point now where it's very useful and very helpful. And more of the plugins that are created actually work with MU and are more stable and actually provide the functionality. One of the places you can go for plugins that work well in WordPress MU is wpmu.dev. These guys here have devoted their entire business to WordPress MU. So they've grown up with WordPress MU and how it was going. So when you're going to build a WordPress MU site, though, is you got to determine, do you actually need a WordPress MU site? This is an important thing to think about and look at when you're doing this. Because WordPress MU is not something for the faint of heart to attack. While WordPress is relatively easy, straightforward to install, manage, and maintain, WordPress MU, not so much. You install it. It is the same software as WordPress itself, but you make a key code change in the WP config file, which turns the site into an MU website. And MU allows you to do things such as add multiple domains, have domain mapping that actually works, allow people to create websites from different domains. It makes it easy for creating all the subdomains you might need. If you're going to have a site that has several subdomains and each one of those subdomains needs its own WordPress install for some specific function, this is what MU allows you to do. And MU has allowed me to do it. One of the great places that MU has allowed me to do that has been here at the fitu.ca. And the fitu.ca, oops, we forgot the second slash there. Can't edit it, so we got to do that again. There we go. fitu.ca. This is a website, a fitness website for a fitness community. Currently, the site contains about 12 domains and still slowly growing. It has interconnected with the main site of the fitu.ca, plus it also has built into it the site for fitness businesses. It's a fitness business directory. And these are two separate domains, but yet they're linked together within the same area. And what this does is allow the sites to actually communicate, talk to each other, and actually allows you to build SEO in all these different environments. It's also a great way to manage and maintain your own blogs if you're managing your own blogging system. One of the things I'm doing, the WP Plugins A to Z is working on a Kickstarter right now, and that is going to be what we're going to be building here. And welcome to the show, Greg. So I've been rambling on a bits and pieces about WordPress MU, and if you so inclined, feel free to jump in the seat. It's always more fun to actually have someone to talk to. If you have burning questions about WordPress plugins, anything I can answer, feel free to ask. I may or may not be able to answer, but I'll at least give it a shot. So anyway, the WP Plugins A to Z is going to be, see you later, Greg. Everyone's in and everyone's out. I'm just not interested enough today, but that's okay. I don't mind. What this is allowing me to do is get more comfortable, learn how to think better. Okay, and what do we got here? WP plugins. That's where I was talking about. Sidetracked. Woo, ADHD. Look, squirrel. Okay. Hello. Welcome back, Greg. Hey, feel free. Jump in. Oh, no, I've got the seat open. Feel free to jump in the seat if you want to chat. So WP plugins, I have a Kickstarter going, and I am recording. So I'm going to be using this and promoting it later. So WP Plugins A to Z has got a Kickstarter up. And part of the Kickstarter, what I'm doing is I'm building an MU website that will bring together WP Plugins A to Z, my WP Support website, my WP Medic website, which has its own podcast also. Plus, I'm going to be bringing in johnoverall.com, which is my main development website. Going to be adding into it, going to be placing forums, membership site to allow people to purchase some of the items that I need to put behind a membership firewall, such as some of my customized training videos. the brain fog. Books, ebooks, the ebooks about plugins, which are being developed. And of course, the WP Plugins A to Z show has been running now for 5 years, 242 episodes. And in that time, we've covered a lot of plugins. Between myself and my co-host, Marcus, we've covered an average of 6 plugins per show. So 6 plugins times 240. So we've covered over 1,400 plugins. And that's just touching the tiny bit of the surface of the WordPress plugin environment. I know when I started the show, there was only 9,000 plugins in the WordPress repository. Currently, there are over 40,000 in the WordPress repository and probably pushing towards 50,000. And that doesn't even include the plugins that are over at Code Canyon and the ones that people can download off the web if they're so inclined at multiple places. I would guess probably there's closer to 70 to 100,000 plugins available for WordPress in some form or another. And with that kind of field available, there's a never-ending supply of material for the WP Plugins show. But at the same time we have plugins available, what we're going to be doing with the show is we're going to be taking the show to a new level. And that is we're going to be adding interview shows. And the interview shows will be a second show added to the lineup. And what we're going to be doing is interviewing plugin developers, authors, creators, also trying to get some of the movers and shakers in the WordPress community to come on and be interviewed in the WP Plugin show and get that information out and shared to the community. So these are some of the things that are planned for WP Plugins A to Z. And this is part of the reason why the Kickstarter is happening, to try and allow the time necessary to make it as good as it can be. I mean, I'm a developer. I spend a lot of time working on client websites. I have to earn the money to pay the bills, bring food on the table, et cetera, et cetera. So what happens is the WP Plugin show gets sidelined, relegated to maybe 1/10 of the time it needs. And the Kickstarter will allow me to put aside my web development business for several months and focus 100% of my hours on WP plugins and make this show what it can be, because it has a lot of potential. It's got a very large audience for those that are curious on it. When the show gets put out each week, we get anywhere between 1,100 and 2,500 downloads per episode. Sometimes it spikes higher, sometimes it spikes lower, but on the whole, it's consistent. And we have high rankings in the iTunes store, though that ranking floats up and down. And I've learned recently that that ranking may float up and down due to the release timing of the show. And one of the things that happened in the last few months for anyone who's listened to the show regularly and consistently is that the show, for periods of time, months, it'll release every day at approximately the same time. But what's happened in the last few months is due to my workload and the ability to connect with my co-hosts for recording, the show became inconsistent. Sometimes it would upload on Monday, sometimes Tuesday, sometimes Friday, or it would go a week or two without a show getting properly uploaded. And this was just due to conflicts in time. And these are the things that I'm looking to fix and make the show more useful for everyone. I mean, we've heard nothing but rave reviews. Everyone I've met that has listened to the show has always said they loved it. It was great. I've even met a few people that say, I listened to your show when I first got into WordPress, and it was a great help to me. I mean, one of the things that happens is many people have talked about how the show has saved them hours of time because we go in and re-review the plugins and let them know what the plugins can be used for and how they can be used. So this is why we're asking our audience, our audience, the listeners, to go visit wppluginsaToZ.com/Kickstarter and donate to the Kickstarter. Pledge to it. Help us get the money we need to do this. And we'll take a breather out here. I've been rattling on for a good 5 minutes here without hardly taking a breath, so I should probably do that. And type in a link here. Nick, Sit in front of a computer long enough, your neck will always hurt. It's guaranteed. There we go. Check out the Kickstarter link, everyone. I know a few people will come back and view this. I had a glitch in the beginning. I loaded it up. I couldn't get my camera to connect. And in the time I did that, 10 people joined the show. And by the time I refreshed and gone, everybody disappeared on me. Got to remember to get in here earlier to make sure everything's working before I notify the show before the show goes live. But then again, Blab being new, I'm certain while it's still in beta, it's going to have a few problems here and there. That's okay. I'm finding it a very useful platform. How about you? Greg, any questions, anything? So let's see here. You've got building websites, web design, WordPress, SEO. Good. There we go. They really should put a place in Blab for people to connect to their websites by clicking on. They've got it very nicely set up to go check out Twitter portfolios. There we go. Yeah, I've been sitting here too long this morning. Time to get out and play Ingress. Anyone know what Ingress is? Raise your hands. Everyone who knows. Nice website, Greg. Excellent. So for anyone who pops in or anyone who comes back and reads this later, hey, a great way to get yourself away from your computer if you spend way too much time on it is to check out Ingress. I discovered it just a couple of weeks ago, and it's been so much fun. Oops. Oops, there we go. Ingress.com. It's a augmented reality game. To boil it down to its simplest form, it's like playing capture the flag and geocaching at the same time. Only the other players aren't always there to play against. They'll come back and take your stuff over. You basically take over stuff, portals across your town, and connect the portals together and overlay zones on top of them, in between them, capture the information in between. And what it causes you to do is you get interested in it and you walk around to do this. You find that in the course of a few days, you'll cover several kilometers of walking and not even realize you did it. I think I actually, I got my time frame off. It hasn't been a couple weeks. It's been a week since I've had this thing, and I started, I think I've covered like 55 kilometers of walking in a week, which is quite a bit of walking, which added to the amount of running I do, hey, it's all good. So it's really a fun game, and it's international or worldwide, I should say. It's a worldwide game. It uses live information from Google. What the information is it's all the portals are actually pieces of art, buildings of interest, historical landmarks, schools, churches, all kinds of stuff. Just wandering around my city playing this game, I discovered these amazing pieces of art in my neighborhood that people have painted on their fences and walls and stuff. And I never knew they were there. I mean, I've even driven down those streets and just never noticed it before, which is what happens. So you actually get out and you look and don't just play the game, but pay attention to the art, the history, because it's full of all the history and art that's in and around your city. Lots of fun. Plus, you meet some great people. I've met a few other players when I've been out playing this. Most of the other players I've met have been on the opposite team from the team I play on, and usually I met them because I was busy destroying their portal and they came down to save it. And once I met them, I went, yeah, okay, I'll leave your portal alone, at least for a few days. Then I'll come back. I mean, they were good enough to come down and talk to me. That sort of said they had an interest in it and said, okay, I'll come back at it another day. So it's just fun. fun thing to do. So I got about 10 more minutes left here, and I'll ramble on about something else. I'm not certain yet what. So I just got to figure out a subject to go on about. The problem with being, you know, a little bit crazy and doing an impromptu show. I was hoping for some questions and other people to show up. Maybe I need to work on my titles. So tweak my titles or pick a different time of day to drop this. I'll drop impromptu shows different times of day and see which ones I can get the most attendance at. It may or may not help, but who knows? Always a good thing. Lots of fun. Favorite gallery plugin. Favorite gallery plugin. I don't actually use a gallery plugin. Well, what's the one that's... Oh, shoot. It's gone from my head. I do know which one. I do know which one I would use. And hang on a second. I gotta go look at a website. I actually have one on. The one that I use the most is the most common one out there, and I'm trying to get its name in my head. NextGen. There we go. NextGen is the one I use the most. And hello, Oregon. Welcome to Blab. NextGen gallery plugin. Oops. Gonna put that. There it is. Yeah, NextGen gallery plugin. I still use it on a couple of client sites. For a while, it had gotten really bad until it was taken over, and I forget who now owns it. It was bought up by a photography company, and they added it into their own theming system that they had. And once that happened, it suddenly became good again. I used to actually, when I first started teaching WordPress back, I guess it's 2010, I actually taught local classes here on how to use WordPress. And I used to teach NextGen Gallery. And NextGen Gallery used to take 2 to 3 hours just to teach people how to use it. And with the improvements that have been made on NextGen Gallery, it's become quite useful. And it's become more stable than it ever was before. So I do like it. And Photocrati, that's who it is. Photocrati is who makes deals with NextGen Gallery now. So as far as galleries go, most of the time when I'm creating a gallery, I just need a simple gallery. And the gallery that WordPress has built into it now has improved to such a degree that if you're doing simple galleries, just doing it through the WordPress files will work perfectly for you. So if you're looking for a slider plugin, well, that one there I do have a good opinion on. I use Revolution Slider, though for a while when it was having problems, I wouldn't touch it. And I was using a different one, but the other one I was using, Slide Deck, the company changed so much that the plugin quit working. Yeah, NextGen's good. What else is available? Well, I can actually send you to a blog post where they've got a whole bunch of galleries available. There's a great blog post here on several galleries that are available. So where was I going? Oh, sliders. Revolution Slider turns out to be a fantastic slider plugin. And they've made such great improvements in it that it just does so much. And because it's fully responsive right out the gate, it makes it even better. The problem with Revolution Slider is it's got a big learning curve. And with the learning curve comes the time it takes to create a slide deck, a deck of slides. And once you create them, though, and get them set up, they're not too hard to change and customize. But it's getting them initially set up. But it's so worth the time because of the way it works and the things you can do with Revolution Slider. So, all right, another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to roll on out of here. Let's see, where else can I go? What else can I wonder and ramble on about? So it was a good morning. I did talk about the zero day exploit. Not going to link to the YouTube video because we don't want that completely pushed out into the world. But one of the things I was talking about the zero day exploit is that it's related to themes. It's not related to WordPress core. It seems certain themes are vulnerable to this exploit. And what happens with it is the hacker who uses it sends up a false request for a form based on the theme folder name. And if they get a response back, what happens is they get to download your WP config file. And that WP config file is basically the solid gold for everything they need to know about your website. In other words, it contains all the information for your database. Once they get that information, it's not hard to do an injection into the database to inject a new user into the database. And once they do that, they can then gain access to your website quite easily and simply. And this exploit was very scarily demonstrated in this YouTube video. I watched the video and it was like, wow, unbelievable. So these exploits do exist, and with WordPress, you just got to be wary and pay attention to what you're using and what it does for you. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do. So I'm going to wrap up the recording here and